Why do I like what I'm making, but struggle to get into the studio? What is up, Shaping Nation? This is Nic Torres here. And that question that I just asked you, why do I like what I'm making, but struggle to get in the studio? This was asked into my recent pottery community that I created. And this is a very, very good question. Why do I like what I'm making, but struggle to get into the studio? So, there's a couple reasons why this could be the case. So, I want you to think of it like working out or exercising. A lot of us know that exercising is really good for you. It's good for our health, it's good for our mental health. We know all the benefits to working out. But a lot of the times, the pain to actually work out is actually more is stronger than the benefits. And it's same thing with making pottery sometimes and getting into the studio. And that is, we like what we're making, but the pain of getting to the studio, taking the time to make the pot, and then maybe it failing, that is much stronger than what you actually want to make. And that's okay. It's totally fine. We all feel these emotions in us. And but what can you do to help this problem? Because I have faced it myself. I have days where I know I wanna make something, like, it's in a cool idea I have in my head, but I just don't wanna get into the studio because it's gonna take so long. Like, for example, one of the things that I have an idea recently is to create Scorpion from Mortal Kombat into a mug, and I think it's such a cool concept, such a cool idea that I have in my head, but I know that it's gonna take a long time, so that's why it's a little bit harder for me to get into the studio. But here's what I did to kind of help me out with that. So what I have learned is that, and I learned this in kind of in my physics class and watching some, listening and watching some other stuff as well, like motivational and like speakers and stuff. So it's basically that action creates motion, and an object in motion stays in motion until it is stopped by an opposite or equal force. So what do I mean by that? And how can you apply this to your own pottery? And this is what I apply myself. So, if you're feeling like you don't want to get into the studio, the best thing that you can do is to get into the studio anyways. Get into the studio, start making pottery. You don't have to be anything specific. Try it for just 1 minute. So let's say, like, for example, for myself. I have a 2-story house. And most of the time, I am upstairs in my room, but my pottery studio is downstairs in my garage area. And so I have to walk down my entire house just to go back there. The simple thing is that I do is to start walking down there into the studio. You don't have to make anything, just go into the studio. That's it. Because when you are in that studio, now you're going to give yourself time to think a little bit. You can give yourself time to think, and now because you're thinking of these ideas, you're gonna want to start making things as well. So that is kind of tip number one that I do is literally just getting into studio, not making anything, just getting in there, sitting down, and start thinking of ideas of what you can make. Another thing that you could do is kind of in the same concept right here is to just set a timer, get in the studio and set a timer for 5 minutes. All you're gonna do is you're gonna make something for 5 minutes. That's it. Grab some clay, or you can even draw if you want, if that is gonna help you as well. Draw or grab some clay and just start making for 5 minutes. That's it. Set a timer, tell Siri, set a timer for 5 minutes. Or if you don't have another different phone, tell Google or something, whatever. But tell it and just sit there and just start making. Because once you start, this is where it's gonna help so much to actually keep going. Like I said, an object in motion is gonna stay in motion. So once you start, it's gonna help be way, 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 way easier to do it. And the third thing that I have done in the past is I I'll wake up and go to the studio immediately after I brush my teeth and stuff. I'll go to the studio and just start making immediately. I find that this could be very, very easy, depending on like if you have kids or not. But I find this to be a little bit easier because if you wake up, go directly to the studio, don't make coffee or anything, maybe drink some water because that's good for you. But go directly to the studio and just start making because that's a good way. That could be a good way to start the day. I've tried this in the past and I have love it. And I still do this when I am working out as well. I wake up and I brush my teeth and then I start working out right away because I know if I don't do it in the morning, I'll probably won't get to it later in the day. So those are just 3 tips that I have done. Hopefully it'll help you get into the studio and start making things that you know that you like to love to make. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode, and I'll see you guys in the next one.